You do this to me. How do words come after music like that? Thank you. I swear he has a plan. Oh. There are times in our life when we hope for large blessings. Last winter, I wanted it to stop raining so badly that my heart ached. It was just a little bit too much rain for my New England sensibilities, too much ice, too many clouds. I'm not used to it. It's only my it was only my second winter. And it's not bad when we hope for things that we know are not in our control, like the weather, our parents, even when we're adults, our children, even when they're adults. And I'm sure that even the flowers hope for the perfect mixture of sunshine and rain. Yeah, it's not bad to hope for things that we can't control. No, it's normal to want to control people, places, and things through our expectations. In the story that Katie told today, the little girl had a long list of don'ts from her mother. And I hate to admit it, I have said similar things to my children and my pets. I have had to tell my dogs, don't eat the squirrels. I have told my children, don't eat candy except on Fridays. Don't watch violent TV or play too many hours of video games. All in the hopes of controlling outcomes and to mitigate bodily harm. And I have anticipated that the dogs, the kids, and the world would listen, but I know that they won't always act the way I want them to. There will always be times when my expectations will not be fulfilled. We all know that this is the way the world works. As a little child, I was not able to fulfill all of my parents' expectations, of course, or my teachers, or the people who were in charge of me. So how can I expect it of others? Subsequently, there are times when we hope for small things, things of little consequence, like when we have good news to share, and we hope that a particular friend will pick up the phone when we call. If they're there, great, and if they're not, we may call another friend. Those hopes are like a pair of yellow gloves or a good crop of daffodils. The optimism is tempered by the expectation that there will be other crops of daffodils. There will be other presents. And while we liked our yellow gloves, maybe we would have rather had pink. And so losing the glove was not such a tragedy after all, because then we could have our mother go out and get us a pink pair. And while we love daffodils, they may be boring next to the blossoming cherry tree. We can have small hopes too. And this kind of hope is a daily hope. The wishes that, while wanted, are not essential to our well-being. They rest in our minds and hearts lightly. They float through our days and cares like the coming of a perfect day in spring. We know it's the beginning. We know that there will be other perfect days. And so it's okay. We know this in our bones. Sometimes, though, we forget to hope. At times in our lives, there are such difficulties that it is easy to forget that miracles exist. The miracle of a dinner on the table when our parents are out of work and the neighbor just happens to drop by with a casserole, a salad, and a bag of groceries. The miracle of a found glove after it has gone missing. Miracles like these can get lost in an aching belly or the fear of making your mother cry. For the little girl in Katie's story, the return of the glove is a wonder. There are small miracles every day. Nonetheless, it is not the glove for me that is the miracle. It is the young girl noticing her mother's tears. Even small children know what hardship is. Hope is in the desire to keep her mother from crying. It's why she put her hand in her pocket. The little girl is listening, noticing the world and the people around her. Hope is hard work. It's radical. It's not for the faint of heart. Yet even the weakest among us can have a thimbleful of hope in the darkest hour. The little girl loses a glove and has one cold hand. And Rebecca Parker, one of our beloved theologians, says in Blessing the World, even when our hearts are broken by our own failures or the failures of others, even when we have done all that we can and life is still broken, there is still a universal love that has never broken faith with us and never will. If we live a full life, we will fail sometimes, and we will have our hearts broken, and we will be the breaker of hearts. And here we are in the throes of spring, with flowers blooming and birds singing and building new nests, and love is in the air, and love is a reason to hope. So hope can be like a found glove. It is the difference between floating and going down. Parker goes on to say, the pain of disappointment gives rise to new practices and new covenants that are strong enough to move us beyond the limits of our inheritance into fresh hope and creativity. Stillness that listens and rage that protests will guide us into new covenants if we have the courage to refuse to flee from our tears and to embody in everyday practices what we have come to know. Hope can teach us a lot. And one of the things that gives me hope today are the high schoolers that marched this week. They know they don't have all the answers to solve gun violence, but they are talking about it with each other and with others who have suffered. They are hopeful that they are the change that we need to make the world a safer place. And for the author of Katie's story, Naomi Nye, her hope comes in the form of springtime in Texas. She describes the landscape and her garden to Kristen Tippett on an On Being podcast. I invite you all to go after the service and listen. She has a beautiful voice and she reads her poems while she's talking about her life. And she notices the flowers and the mountain laurel. Nye writes about common things in life. They bring her hope. And you give me hope. I get to come to church every Sunday and see what you have made of your lives, your struggles, your successes. I see miracles. And so in this springtime of the year, we get to come together and celebrate what? Think about it. What does your heart long for this spring? Take a moment. Think about it. What's growing inside you? What do you notice that makes you hopeful? Where is your yellow glove or yellow daffodil? Gentle people, the little girl in the story that Katie told was paying attention to her surroundings. She noticed the yellow glove, and as an adult, made meaning from it. I invite you to go out and to make meaning in the springtime of your life. Blessed be, and amen.